And speaking about star players and Thibs not playing shooters, let's go into his comments that he said last night. I made a video on it. And in the video, I was talking about some of the things Thibs was saying. So Thibs
Hmm.
basically said he thinks the Knicks should be aggressive in all avenues in their attempts to acquire a star player. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts on that comment is that it can go either way. And one aspect, it can be him saying we don't have talent on our squad, so we like our draft picks and all that. We don't have a star. We need to find one. Or it can be our team is actually pretty decent. We're just missing a star piece that way we can be competitive. So now let's go for a star piece looking at what we already have. Like, so it depends on how you want to look at it. Maybe he meant it as we have what it takes. We just missing a star to give us that jump, or we don't have any potential stars, so we need to get a star, and then that's who we'll build around.
I think it's Thibs being impatient as usual. Because remember, when he was in Minnesota, he traded
Minnesota.
3 lottery picks for Jimmy Butler just to trade him again. And
Yeah, that
to be honest, when he
that
left the
was
Timberwolves, I didn't think he left them in necessarily the greatest spot. They were stuck between a rock and a hard place trying to keep Karl Anthony Towns. So they went out there and they flipped a bum for D'Angelo Russell when they traded Wiggins for D Russ.
Wiggins is a bum.
Bum juice. I don't know.
Like, and everybody was hyped when he went to the Warriors, like he's the answer. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
Warriors are still dirt. Like
he's just a bigger
until Clay is
question. What do you
healthy,
mean the
Warriors
answer?
are dirt.
But
Like
yeah,
exactly.
So
He is
Tibbs being
untapped potential.
impatient, I would just hope that he doesn't try to force the front office's hands because this is not the first time we've heard of Tibbs, pushing for the front office to be in a more win now mode. So to hear that behind the scenes or that leak out from reports behind the scenes and to now hear him be interviewed or be talked to by Stefan Bondi, who's the one that released the article in the Daily News, to hear that being confirmed by a journalist and not off the records makes me a little bit, it's a little cause for concern because yes, we do have pieces that can be moved. To me, the only legit untouchables are RJ and Obi. And you may say Mitch can be moved, but it would just depend on who he has to be moved for. So,
Hmm.
me personally, it would all depend on the deal. If we can get a legit star like a Devin Booker or another player that's not really, happy where they are and are looking for greener pastures, if we could make a move like that without having to give up all our first round picks or to give up a RJ or give up a Obi, then that's something I'm open for. I'm open to listen to. But if you're saying we're gonna have to clear house and send out everybody, you get a failed draft pick, you get a failed draft pick, you get a failed draft pick, and then we're including RJ and Obi with him just to bring in a star player to play with these vets, then I'm gonna be like, nah, y'all are wilding. Y'all are bugging out. So it all depends
No,
on what
yeah.
the move is.
No, I mean, I completely agree. But I feel like the next, I don't, as an organization, I don't feel like they're worried because that's the reason why they hired him specifically to be a coach and not a coach slash president like the Wolves did. He doesn't have that kind of power, and the fact that he went to a journalist proves further that he doesn't have that kind of power to make any decisions.
That's a good point.
And
That's a good point, Inf.
yeah, and with Leon Rose doing what he's been doing, I don't think he's gonna sit down and then listen to what Tibbs has to say. If Tibbs becomes an issue, I'm sure they'd much rather just move on from him because there's plenty of coaches out there than entertain his idea that we need to move who they view as their future for a star that may or may not work out.
See, I was thinking he may have a little bit more pull in the organization because him and Leon Rose have previous relationships. But the way set that up is actually a pretty good point. The fact that he's actually going to the media with this information now could be an indication that he's trying to force, the Knicks management's hand. That's actually a good point. I never really thought about it. I should have said that in my video. Ah,
Well, two minds are better than one.
facts. But Tibbs. I just don't understand why he can't just take a year to develop the roster, especially with Quickly, Powell, and he even got Scal. That remember we had on what did we speak about it on the last
Yeah,
podcast or was it a different one?
yeah, with CJ, we
Yeah,
did.
yeah, CJ. CJ got to come on, man. They was killing him for his Quickly take.
Word. I mean, listen, we'll see how that. We'll see if his words actually pan out or not.
Yeah, hopefully they don't, because Quickly looked pretty good, in the short
Yeah,
time he was on the court. But we'll see. But we brought in Scal. We brought in a lot of these younger players that could potentially develop if we give them some minutes. So
yep.
to see,
And they're not going to develop in the G League. They're not.
you think so? Well, some of them,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Scal could benefit from some time in the G League and actually getting some play. I don't know. But I know Quickly won't benefit more in the G League. I think Quickly has what it takes to be in the NBA day one and contribute, especially what I saw from breaking down his film. If you haven't checked that out, I'll link it up above.
Yeah. No, because I mean, how many players do you see go to the G League and then come to the A and they're killing? Like, it's rare. Most of the time, when somebody goes to the G League, they stay in the G League, except for the Lakers player,
What,
whoever
Horton?
they drafted, THT.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, apparently, I saw a quote that he was like that his first time stepping on the G League court, he said he doesn't belong there, and now he's in the A, just destroying. Like, I don't understand how the Lakers continue to get lucky with their picks.
facts.
I don't.
And
I don't
when
get
the
it.
Knicks get lucky, we get players with immaturity issues, or at least Thibs says
Yeah.
he has immaturity issues. I can't say that as a fact. I have never met Mitch myself, so I'd have to make my own opinion. But based on what Thibs say, Mitch could be a little bit immature.
Yeah, I mean, and look at Kristaps, because technically we got lucky with Kristaps.
Facts,
He's the second best player in that draft. We had him, and then he was just immature. Like,
facts,
how
facts.
you base your entire career off another player on the team? Like, oh, you guys treated someone else bad, so I'm leaving. Like, what?
Yeah, right.
Did they treat you bad? Like, you didn't know Melo before you got on the
Yeah,
team,
facts,
but you're gonna base your whole career on him now?
facts. I mean, they did do Melo dirty at the end of his career, but I'm not really a Melo fan, so
No,
I
they
wasn't
did.
gonna be like, "Yeah, you guys are doing Melo wrong." I was like, "Man, just get him out of here, let him go to where he needs to go, so he can go play in the playoffs." We need a clear
No, yeah.
slate.
I really wish he would have went to the Lakers last season though. Like let Melo get a chip, let him retire with some grace, and just call it a day.
Nah, I'm indifferent to Melo. I still think he messed our team up. One of these days, I'm gonna give a
You know what?
breakdown.
I don't. What was
I said
that?
one of these days, I'm gonna give my Melo breakdown of why I think he set the team back. He did it. Phil
No,
assisted as well. Phil probably did the most, but Melo was definitely a part of it. And this is before Phil ever came in.
no. I blame Melo the most simply off the fact that he knew Knicks. So why not just tell the Knicks, you know what? Instead of trading everyone and their mother for me right now for half a season, I'm gonna
Thank
sign with you
you.
guys in the offseason. That way, once he signs, we have all these other pieces that already fit.
Thank
But
you.
no, he couldn't
Thank
do
you.
that. He couldn't just wait half a season,
And you want to know why he couldn't wait half a season?
half of a
Because
lockout season.
yes, thank you. And nobody wants to point that out. He was nervous. He didn't know what the contracts were going to look like. So he wanted to lock in his contract before, the new CBA came into effect. So he kind of strong armed the Nuggets into making a deal. And in the process, the Nets got hooked into it and it caused the Knicks to up their offer. Now, am I going to say Melo forced them to up their offer? No, I'm not going to say that. But if Melo didn't force the Nuggets' hand, we wouldn't have had to up our offer. Just you would have got the same, if not more money, if you would have just waited till after the lockout. But no, he wanted his bag, which I understand. He has his right to want to get his money, and I have the right to be upset that he got it from my team.
Yeah,
In the manner in which
basically.
he did. I'm not gonna sit here and then with Melo, he pouted when Jeremy Lin started getting some shine. He didn't want to be a part of the team. He didn't want to be the point forward when he had the skills to be a point forward. And not only
Yeah.
that, the fact that Chauncey Billups legitimately said when he was his teammate, Melo cared more about getting his buckets than the team actually winning. And then you got all these Knicks fans talking about, no, Melo's the best thing that ever happened to the Knicks. I'll pass. Talking about
Not
a
yet.
reunion.
He is to blame for a lot of the downfalls in his own career.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
Yep.
I still want to see him do good, just because I like watching him play. Like I like his style of play, but he is the reason why he doesn't have a ring right now.
Facts.
His
Facts.
decisions. So
Facts.
it happens.
Forced out D'Antoni prematurely.
That was the dumbest thing he could have done. D'Antoni was the coach for us at that time.
At that time, yeah. Emphasis on at that time.
Yeah, at that time when we had
With,
legitimate scoring guards,
yo,
why not have D'Antoni? Who's gonna do something better?
imagine a team where you're playing positionless basketball with Gallo, Melo, and Chandler. Won't be the greatest team defensively, but if you find a nice center to put down there, you got 3 players right there on the wing or on the low
And we
block
had
that can
Tyson.
shoot. Ooh,
Remember, we had Tyson Chandler after
yes,
his
Tyson
defensive
Chandler.
player
You're
of the
right.
year.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we had it. We were good.
Yeah. It's rough.
I don't know.
Rough. Wait,
Next, man.
I don't even know how we got to
Next.
Melo. Oh, Knicks needing a star, and I guess it ties in. Melo was the last star the Knicks
Yeah.
had.